All righty. Welcome to the Better Sex Podcast. My name is DeborahTantraKat, and I am your shameless host. This is the Better Sex Podcast, where we have unfiltered conversations about sex and relationships. This show is about the many possibilities of sex and relationships and helping you figure out what works for you so that you can have better sex on your terms. I truly believe that a sexy world is a happier and a safer world. If you want to do your part in creating a sexy, safer world, please hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment wherever you get your podcasts. Oh my goodness. Today, I am so excited. We are going to dive into the world of my guest, Will Tantra. He is a sex and intimacy coach living in Los Angeles. He is also a naked yoga instructor and a massage therapist. He teaches mainly through video and at Tantra retreats and festivals around the world. Will is known for his practical approach to intimacy education and for providing men with easy-to-follow routines and rituals designed to teach them how to give and receive more pleasure. Teaching men how to exercise their bodies and masturbate in a way that prepares them for partnered sex is one of Will's favorite lessons. I am ridiculously excited to have this conversation with you. I know we've been waiting a bit to connect here. So I'm so curious, how did you get here? What's your story?
Hi, Deborah. I'm so happy to be here, and it's great to see your smiling face. Thank you for having me. I was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado. And I had a very traditional upbringing. My family stayed together. It was kind of a white picket fence type middle-class upbringing. And I was an athlete growing up. I didn't have a lot of intimate relationships, girlfriends or boyfriends. I didn't come out of the closet until college. And after a brief corporate career, I decided to really follow my passion, which was teaching about the physical body. And so I got into personal training and teaching Pilates and yoga. And then I got into doing massage therapy. And the more I started to work with people, the more I became aware of the power of sexual energy. And I wanted to work with it, but I was also afraid of it because of what are people going to think? What are my parents going to think? What are my Republican relatives going to think? All that sort of thing. So it took a few years of letting go of layers and vulnerability. But after a while, I just started doing erotic massage, and that really was uplifting to me and felt really true to my heart as far as one of my gifts to the world. And I wanted to make it even more sexual, but again, worried about, if I'm an escort, will I ever get a date again? Will I get disowned? So I decided to try it in another city, which I did. So I traveled to a city for a few weeks and did massage and sex work. And at that point, I was starting to teach Tantra. And I really just started to see how everything blended so beautifully together. And it made me happy and was the type of work where I was like, oh my God, this is literally what I came here to Earth to do. So without hesitation, went home, put my ad up, announced to everybody, I'm doing sex work, I'm doing Tantra coaching and erotic massage, and I haven't looked back. It's been a beautiful journey ever since.
I love hearing that.
Thank you.
I love hearing that this is your passion, and how I mean, even just the way you share that, the transmission is so clear. I do have a quick question about what it's like for you as a sex worker and how that's changed your dating life and your relational life.
Yes. Interestingly enough, and this philosophy or spiritual approach kind of goes for everything in my life. It's any sort of issues or problems or communication issues I have with either a family member or a friend or a dating partner, it's usually because there's conflict in my own head about what I'm doing. And once I made the decision that this is me, this is who I am, this is what I love, these are my passions, then everybody who didn't align with that just kind of naturally drifted away. And then everybody who is, rooting me on and wants to co-create with me and wants to engage at the level of my authenticity attracts. So it really was not a problem. All the worry I had was for nothing, because once I found my own authenticity and was true to myself, then the people that resonated with that come to me.
So good. And so very well put. I love it. So you find your authenticity, those that doesn't resonate with, go in other directions. Those that do resonate are attracted to you.
Exactly. It's literally like my thoughts and my feelings create a vibration, not unlike a radio frequency. And my vibration in that radio frequency attracts other people who are vibrating at the same wavelength. And so it's just a natural result of law of attraction. And it's been a beautiful thing. And as far as my family goes, it's been a gradual thing, kind of baby steps. But everybody's kind of coming along, and I haven't had any major backlash. And I feel very fortunate about that, because I know that is not the case with a lot of sex workers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hearing you say that, I am curious. So I want to go back to the radio frequency for just a second. Sure. One of my energy teachers talks about how we all have our own frequency. And oftentimes, we sort of distort it or have, come in with a different frequency, one that we feel like might be easier to hear or more palatable. And so I'm kind of curious, like, as you were letting go of the things that didn't align, how did you do that? I mean, I think it's, we often hear people talk about, like, being more in alignment, but how did you get more in alignment?
Through meditation and daily meditation. When I first was introduced to meditation, I was like everybody else. Oh, my mind is too busy. Oh, I really have a lot of crazy thoughts. Meditation is not for me. I'm super active and I don't like to sit still like that. I had all of those excuses. But once I started to resonate with the message of the law of attraction and vibration and our frequency, then it came very clear to me what I'm tuning my frequency to while I'm meditating is that of my soul, that of my inner being. And once I'm tuned to that frequency, then all of those messages are available to me that guide me step by step on how to live the life that will be most joyful and satisfying. So to answer your question, meditation, daily meditation, it's my anchor of the day. And that's what helps me tune my frequency to my inner being. And then I get downloads of creative ideas and messages just kind of throughout the day, not necessarily right then when I'm meditating, but I bring myself to that uplifted place, and that's where the messages are.
Beautiful. And how does the body work into your meditation?
How does my physical body work?
So I guess what I'm thinking is that most of us, when we think about meditation, it's, as you said, sitting still. And it is much more of a mind experience. But I suspect because you're so body centered that there is a physical piece to the meditation. Is that accurate?
I'm glad you asked that, and this is an important clarification. My main meditation every morning is perfectly silent and perfectly still. So I'm seated, I'm breathing, I'm clearing my mind as the thoughts come. I just sort of see them go by as a parade. I try not to attach to them. After a while, because I have crazy thoughts like everybody every single day, after a while, they start to get further and further apart. Then I have these couple seconds of silence here and there. Then my mind might go off and I bring it back and I bring it back. But after a while, I'll get like 5 or 6 seconds of silence, then another 5 or 6 seconds of silence. Then I start to feel a feeling of weightlessness, a little bit of detachment from my body, not in a negative sense, but I feel almost like I'm blended with my chair. I'm blended with my environment. I feel completely at peace and relaxed. That is the physical signal that you've connected to your inner being. And you can hang out there for a while. Once that connection's made, that's all you need. You don't have to meditate for hours on end. It just takes hitting that point. Usually that takes me about 12 to 15 minutes. And then I'm good for the day. That's my silent meditation. I also do yoga. Now, while I'm doing yoga, yes, a lot of times I'm trying to clear my mind, but it's during my yoga that a lot of times I get those ideas and downloads. I also do a form of meditation called sex magic, which is where I'm masturbating and meditating. And that might sound a little crazy to people, but I have learned through practice and experience that when I meditate and I am charging my sexual energy, then I can infuse the thoughts about the life I'm wanting to lead with sexual energy. And then I get turbocharged manifestations because our sexual energy is the most powerful energy that we are gifted with.
I love that. So good. So I just wanted to get, you used the term charging your sexual energy. And I think I know what that means, but I'm curious when you say that, what do you mean by that?
Oh, thanks for asking, because I know that might be an odd term to use. So charging my sexual energy, what I mean by that is I feel like our genitals are batteries for sexual energy. And we can either charge that battery and give it more energy, or we can diffuse that battery and release some of that energy. So, for example, if I masturbate and I'm jacking off and I'm feeling that energy building and it's all great, and then I just shoot my load, then that energy is going to drop. So I've both charged the battery up and then I've depleted the battery. And at 20 years old, great, no problem. I'm 56 years old now. So the refractory period, meaning the time in between erections and orgasms and ejaculations that feels appropriate for me at my age, has gotten a little longer. So it's important for me as a human to learn how to masturbate in a way that doesn't always diffuse my sexual energy, which means I'm edging. I'm enjoying different levels of arousal. I'm exploring other parts of my body. I'm getting super satisfied by those high edges, and I don't need to always go over the edge and ejaculate to have an amazing time with my cock. And that's not every single time. I do ejaculate sometimes, but it's an important practice for me to masturbate, feel the energy build, spread it around my body with my breath and sound and movement, and then go on with my day.
Thank you. So we were talking, one of the things that really excited me about this conversation is the idea of changing up masturbation. And I know with my clients, the first step is actually, can you do this with the lights on and actually take your covers off? And so I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about masturbation, about changing what you do usually, some of the things that you suggest with your clients.
Absolutely. Yes. I like to teach my clients and viewers how to masturbate in a way that better prepares them for partnered sex. And I like to use the analogy of an athlete training for a sporting event. So, for example, if you have a football quarterback and he's practicing his perfect throw, he's preparing for a game. He's not just practicing in a perfect climate-controlled room, super comfortable, no sun in his eyes, no distractions around. No, it's quite the opposite. He's practicing with people chasing him. It's hot. It's cold. Somebody's yelling at him. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's got a little, all sorts of different distractions in order to help his neuromuscular system perfect that throw, regardless of the conditions. Our genitals can kind of be similar in the fact that they get really used to the habits that we give them, anything in our body, because our bodies are adaptation machines. And whatever we give them repeatedly, they get really good at. So if we masturbate in the exact same position, the exact same porn, with the exact same stroke, speed, and pressure, then, talking as a man, then my cock is going to get really used to that, but then pigeonhole me into a narrow area of what will get me off. So what that means is when I'm masturbating, I need to change my body position, stand up sometimes, get on my hands and knees sometimes, lie on my back sometimes. I masturbate in the positions that I like to have sex in because the mind to muscle engagements that occur during sexual pleasure, during partnered sex, need to also be there during solo sex for our cocks for their function and pleasure to be maximized. So not only does body position, does that need to be changed, but also to change our stroke speed and pressure and variety of strokes. Typically guys jack off with the same stroke, the same up and down motion, whatever their old faithful stroke is. And then they're with a partner and maybe their mouth or hole or pussy doesn't feel anything like that. It might be a lot looser or tighter or wetter or drier. You know what I mean? So we need to try to mimic how partnered sex is in our own bedrooms by ourselves.
Would you say that this sort of training masturbation, for lack of a better term, do you suggest that people have, porn or vibrators or erotica, or is it more just hand to genitals, or what's your thought there?
Well, it depends on the person. A lot of people are very attached to porn and watch it every single time. I've had several clients, especially over the last few years, in their 20s who have what's called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. And what that means is they can only get off when they're watching porn. So they're watching porn when they're masturbating, and then they bring the porn into their partnered sex. So for somebody like that, that's a huge issue. And I can't just say, oh, throw away the porn and get all spiritual. It just doesn't work. So it really does depend on the person. But what I do encourage people to do is not to get off the porn completely, but to sometimes have just looking at your own body or looking at yourself in the image, or even playing the fantasies in your own head so that you are in charge of your own turn on. And it doesn't always have to come from an external image stimulus. And that is exercising a different arousal muscle that's super important when you're with a partner, because otherwise when you're with a partner, you're going to be thinking about the porn, fantasizing about it, wishing it was on, and disconnecting from your person.
So just to be clear, what you're suggesting is that to try different things in terms of, I love you brought in the mirror, and having somebody look at themselves in the mirror, to try different speeds, to try different positions. And I'm curious, because one of the things that I've suggested to clients, and I don't know what you think about this, but like, if you're going to watch porn or if you're going to use porn, try, to do it to just listen to it, or to just watch it without the sound, or to put it in a different position to kind of start having different experiences with it.
Absolutely. Or turn it on and get excited, then turn it off. Don't play with it in a way that there's variety, but that you're not relying on it exclusively every single time in the same way. There's also different types of porn. There's educational porn. There's more intimate